Hi, welcome to Gorilla Keys Around the Globe. Today we're going to be doing a very short video looking at smoking a beef shoulder. Let's get on with it. Alright, why a beef shoulder, why smoke it? Well, typically I was walking through the grocery store through HEB and they had a great deal on these big hunks of meat. Now the beef shoulder is going to come from the upper arm. It's sort of in that same vicinity as the brisket, and so it's going to be a muscle that works very, very hard, ideal for the kind of low and slow, good marbling, etc. Probably wouldn't make a terrific steak because it's likely to be pretty tough. It's probably actually comes from sort of slightly lower than the clod. The clod is perhaps on the very sort of top of the deltoid. This is slightly lower. Now, why do this instead of just doing a brisket flat? Well, I was looking at it and sort of thinking about this, standing there with the children screaming at me in the grocery store, and a couple of things, actually 4 or 5 things. The brisket flat is terrific, but it tapers, and so it's got different thicknesses. It's all one muscle, and we've all kind of cooked the brisket flat and thought, that's not as good as it could have been. This, on the other hand, was a very consistent size, as you can see right now, thanks to the wonders of technology. Very consistent thickness, so it should cook evenly through. Secondly, the brisket flat has obviously got a fat cap on it, which is tremendous. We all love the fat cap, but we also quite like that bark. So this, having the fat around the outside, was give you a lot more bark, basically bark on top and bottom, which is rather attractive. Thirdly, it's relatively cheap. I mean, this was, I don't know, maybe $2.50, $3 a pound, which is right in there with kind of a cheap brisket cost, but seemed to be marbled quite well, so I was able to go down with the lower grade. This was just a choice piece rather than say select. And typically when I'm going to do a brisket, I'm going to do prime, which means you'll be paying up a bit more. And fourth, this was good size. I mean, there's a big hunk of meat there that's going to slice well. A couple of other things to note though, it does have a different grain direction. The grain obviously is running sort of top to bottom as opposed to north, south or east, west. So cutting it on the bias means you essentially have to cut it horizontally like this. So instead I'm taking it at 45 degrees to try and get that short grain length on it, so make it easy eating. Well, the actual smoking process, absolutely typical, nothing special about it in any way, shape or form. 250 degrees or a little bit lower on the dome temperature, so I'm rolling in about 225 at the grate. Very typical Gorilla Q setup, as you've all seen. Again, miracles of technology. About 165 internal. I wrapped it in butcher's paper to allow it to cook through to about 203. So let's have a look at the slicing. Okay, so I've not looked at it. It's rested for about 20 minutes. It went to about 203. It's been a very neglected cook because I've spent most of the afternoon at the swimming pool. So I've just kind of let it get on with it. Let's see where we go. Certainly, I've just taken off the plate that it was resting on, and there was a lot of juice in the bottom of that plate. So it looks like there's a fair amount of fat coming off it. It feels soft. Not as soft as a brisket might be. You can certainly see there's plenty of fat in there coming from that marbling. Gosh, yes. Alright. That doesn't look too awful. Okay. Now, the grain is obviously north-south, vertical at the moment, so I'm just going to cut across it. Pretty much any way I slice that way is going to work, so I'm going to put it on a diagonal, and we'll see what we've got. Smoke ring looks good. There's a couple of very heavy, solid fat bands through this, tendon bands through there, that are going to just have to be cut and dealt with at the time. Let's have a look at this one. Alright, I can see, breaks like you'd expect brisket to break. Nice red band. Okay, breaks like you expect briskets to break. Beautiful smoke ring, took that well. Got the same layer, so. Oh yeah, that eats very well. Oh yeah, I can see this, the sheen coming off, quite moist. You can just see these bands of harder fat in there that you wouldn't necessarily get, but it tears easily. Quite lovely. Just showing you there, it tore apart very, very easily, cut nicely, had a beautiful smoke ring to it. Again, I just sort of do that, I mean, juicy as it could be. So, give it a slight tear. Again, quite long. Whoa, okay. Angle perhaps wasn't quite as good as it could have been. So you've got quite long fibres in there, but I don't think it's going to be too bad. You see very, very pronounced smoke ring all the way around. Gorgeously juicy though, gorgeously juicy. And lots of that bark, just like we hoped for. That is fabulous. That is absolutely fabulous. Perhaps not as strongly flavoured as brisket, but that might just be this particular cut. Comes out like brisket. Oh, this is good. So for $10 for that whole steak, I think it was $10.50. You know, got enough brisket to feed a cat. No, got enough brisket to feed an entire family, and yeah, marvelous. Give this one a go.